hem. President Buffington, Provost Pillow, various deans, assorted professors, woe-begone members of the faculty, visiting dignitaries, honored guests, commissioned officers of the University of Arts ROTC unit. Representatives of the Philadelphia community, Quakers, Shakers, Mummers, Baileys, Banks, and Biddles, undergraduates, and you, the graduates. You magnificent, shining like chromium, gorgeous bastards. Look at you, just look at you. You're all so splendid, so full of hope. The possibility is, God, I swear I can smell it from here. We all can. We envy you, and you're excited, and we are excited by you, and the way we look at you is not entirely appropriate for people of our age. But it can't be helped. I have been wondering what to say to you that is worthy of your spectacular moment. This, the very second that you stand proud up against the oncoming slog of mediocrity. You stand and you say, I today simply and boldly am saying, yes, art, and yes, now. Wow. Let me tell you, I love it for you, dear graduates. It gives me hope. It gives us all a feeling of eternity. I have often felt that art is like a relay race. The traditions, the knowledge, the craft, the tricks are the baton we grab as the racer before us collapses, and we race to the finish line, and we pass it behind us without looking back as we ourselves race to the end. Perhaps I have a greater affinity for you this day because if not for the quaint pranks of fate, I would be an alum of this very institution. You see, dear graduates, the school I ultimately attended was not my first choice. My first choice was an earlier incarnation of this school. There was an article in the Philadelphia Inquirer stating that the University Arts would be starting a theater program. This is 1977, think about it. Now, I knew Philadelphia very well, growing up outside in Reading, Pennsylvania. No, really? Amish? Here? Stop it. Did you bring Lebanon bologna? I hope. Philadelphia was my artistic home. It wasn't going to be Reading. I came to Philadelphia as a kid to see Eugene Ormandy, to all the Broadway tours that came through, to every museum, and to the gay discos later that were playing McFadden and Whitehead. Applause for anyone who knows who McFadden and Whitehead are. Yeah, all right. Whoa, Philadelphia, I love ya. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Across the street to the left, that's where to the right, that's where it was happening. So I called the admissions office after this article and to find out the program wasn't going to start for a few years. So I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. So here I am at last. Sorry I'm late. And this is quite something, let me tell you. I was out the other night, and I asked some of my friends what to say to you. I was so intimidated by the majesty of this moment. Many said, remember what you heard at your own graduation speech and build on that. Okay, not the best advice. My graduation from the academy was in 1980. I was 40 pounds thinner, but had terrible skin. You see, God evens life out like this. The advice of my friends to build on the speech at graduation was indeed bad advice. The commencement speaker was Roy Scheider. Fresh from his performance as Joe Gideon in All That Jazz, and currently appearing on Broadway in a Pinter play called Betrayal. Roy was glamorous in the extreme. He sort of sauntered up to the podium and said, "Hey kids, I'm not gonna BS you." He then held up these blue index cards. "I have a whole speech prepared here, but that's not what you want. I'm working and you're not. And you probably have a lot of questions for me. I'm gonna rip up my speech and you kids fire away with questions." And with that, he ripped his blue cards and let them flutter to the bottom of his bell-bottom slacks and the top of his cowboy boots. Roy then gave a gesture of openness. "I'm here for you." And the audience went nuts. They loved it. What a cool guy. Of course, I sat there with my fellow graduates who had been trained to be in the moment, who had trained to observe with our eagle eyes. We all, as one, noticed that the blue cards were blank. He had come unprepared. Oh, please, we'd seen it on our classes all the time. So we sat there in stone-cold, disbelieving silence. This man who had turned our sacred moment into his little press junket. The first question came from the boy next to me. "Mr. Scheider, are those your own teeth?" So I told the story to my friends, and they were all aghast, and I immediately won the prize for worst commencement speech ever, and I got a free cocktail. And later, one of my friends said, perhaps I should give the speech I wish I had gotten. Maybe there is something saying that I wish someone had told me as I graduated. Things that I've picked up as I've made my way through this disco dance of art and commerce. And maybe they add up to a portrait of how there is fun to be had in all this. 7 seems a quite mystical number. 7 deadly sins, 7 pillars of wisdom, 7 days in a week, 7 dwarves, 7 husbands for Elizabeth Taylor, 7 sweets, 7 sours for my Reading friends. Done. Here are 7 things I wish someone had told me, and I pass them on to you with love. Okay, number 1. A surprising amount of rich people have no taste. Oh, you figured that one out already. It's so sad because it's so true. See, I blame it on Turner Classic Movies. Like if you watch a Preston Sturges movie and a rich person is Billy Burke, kind of flitting about going, "The maestro is going to perform for us." But rich people tend to be more like Fran Drescher, saying, "Why is it orange? I don't like orange." Dorothy Parker has said, if you really want to see what God thinks of money, look at the people who he's given it to. And here's the killer part. You have to put up with them to do what you want in your life. Don't look at me here. Look, beach ball tossers, look at me. Don't take this as a suggestion that you're going to have to be a brown noser here. I did not say that, but you are going to have to handle them. Every museum, dance company, theater company that now functions with a nonprofit status is dealing with individuals on a board, many of whom are very rich, usually by mastering one tiny thing, and are now Shazam experts on the world. Or, better yet, they inherited wealth but act like they've earned it. You gotta figure out how to handle these people. Educate them. You need them. Or best of all, you have to find a rich person, like all the trustees I met last night. People who actually have something vaguely resembling curiosity. They exist and they are blessed. Happy hunting. Number 2, you are an artist. Say it all the time in conversation drives people nuts. Oh, I'm sorry, I'd like to do that, but I'm an artist. They see us as creatures of whim, living only to do what we feel at that moment. Play it up. Do it. But no, with that simple statement, I am an artist, comes a quite intimidating responsibility. Just out of school, I attended a speech given by the great choreographer Agnes DeMille. And at the end of the talk, she sort of looked over at a group of the younger people in the crowd and improvised. Excellence. Think of the meaning of the word. Look for it in your ballet, look for it in your politicians, look for it in your life. So the baton I pass to you without looking back is excellence. Who needs it? Well, if you look around, evidently no one. You're about to head off into a terrible job market, and it's even worse for artists. So far, the only advantage to your degree from the University of the Arts over just a general liberal arts degree is at least you know what kind of work you're out of. And also, no one cares if you're any good. Bad taste abounds. Because of the economy, every form of art has been dumbed down so that everything will want to be seen by everyone. That means less individuality, less shocking work, less challenging pieces. What can you possibly do in its face? Excellence. Sorry, you're an artist. It's your calling. To be good is not enough when you dream of being great. Anyone can just imitate what's popular. Anyone can make the obvious, comfortable choice. You have to make the unique, fresh, and honest choice. First time, every time. Artistry, wit, intelligence. You're our hope. You have to do it. Excellence must be your devotion. When the young child of Jenna Rollins and John Cassavetes was filling out a form for her elementary school, she asked them what she should do with the box that said religion. Jenna Rollins said, "Put down artists." Which brings us to number 3. You have all the power. In the midst of the dung that is being offered to you, remember, you have all the power. You can create something right now. A concert, an art show, a play, a film, start it now. Don't wait for Santa, start it now. You don't have to be a success to have your own vanity company. Do it now. Saves time. If you are working in a restaurant or an office, find the other actors, find a director, find painters, find musicians, find a playwright, get together with them. Invite the press. Remember, these reporters are all working for papers that are going under and wondering why they have an arts department at all. They need something to write about. And to be completely fair, I did tell you how tough all the other fields are right now, but the one that is wide open to you is the internet. Webisodes, YouTube, do it all. Now, later, down the road, you will be offered things. How can you not be? You're so industrious. And then you will be faced with the age-old dilemma. I have been offered 2 projects. One is very artistic and one is very commercial. One is for art, one is for money. Which one should I do? The answer to that is so simple. Do the one you want to do. You're an artist. What you do will automatically be artistic. That's just common syntax. There is no official artistic panel that decides why you chose what you chose and passes judgment. You make the call, and in everything, do what interests you. If you are not doing what you want to do, get out of it as quickly as you can and do what you want. Talent is very fragile. If it's not in a loving environment, it leaves, and so should you. Number 4, keep your sanity. And maybe you want to cultivate some nice, non-toxic friends. A first friend tends to be someone who's outrageous, like, oh my God, what did he just do and say? Later on, you'll look for someone who's there with the cardboard boxes when your girlfriend dumps you, or buys you the burger when no one gets your work, or will go to the Keith Haring show and just spend the whole afternoon and not speak, or run lines, or really discuss the merits of Prokofiev. Outrageous can be fun too, but it's a flavor, it's not a meal. And physical things are not worth it, highly overrated. So many of my earlier artist friends got so caught up in living the high life, they soon left art altogether. Sacrifice, it's a religion, remember? Number 5, would it kill you to be nice? Number 5 here is going to be kindness. I know it's tough. And since 1980, America has certainly got a lot meaner. And there are reasons for this, and what they are for you depends on where your politics lie. If your view is left of center, you know that the very rich have restructured the country so that the middle class has been decimated, and 1% of the country is awfully rich, and the other 99% is having to struggle. If your politics are to the right of center, well, then nothing really happened and the poor are just lazy. So what does that mean? Well, everyone is very angry. And the last thing we need to add into this mix was a device which would allow people to speak anonymously. Internet, your name goes here. So everything you do as artists will be met with rudeness and indifference or anonymous bile. Welcome! So maybe what has to give you the greatest pleasure in your work now has to come from within. And maybe also number 4, not toxic friends will just get you where you need to be. So off you go into this mean new world, and maybe your first response is not meanness back, but kindness. In my entire life, no screaming person has ever been calm. I'm screaming back at them. Maybe you'll get different results. Calm is very good here. I just assume everyone has some awful burden that they are carrying, a deceased parent, a wretched childhood, a fear, and I cut them a huge amount of slack. And if someone does something terrible to you, and they will, don't worry about getting revenge. Life presents its own revenge on everyone. Live long enough, you'll see. Be kind, but be strong. Have faith, have hope, have charity, but have a lawyer. Live your life. Number 6, actually this is the most important. Number 6, keep your eyes on your own paper. There is a website called playbill.com, and it lists everything that everyone is doing in theater around the world, everywhere. I've taken to calling my morning visits there, why didn't I get that? Plays are being commissioned in Australia, but why didn't I get that? Plays, someone is doing a musical version of a driver's ed film. Why didn't I get that? Cash prizes to actresses of color based in South Africa. Why didn't I get that? And the fact is I'm booked. I have a new play, a new musical. I've got television series in negotiation. I've got 6 films in development. And still, I feel I'm being passed over. God, the burden of what it was when I had nothing on my plate. Careers are like snowflakes. Everyone is different. Some are huge successes immediately and forever. Some are up and down, and some don't happen till the very end. and all are valid and fascinating. What you want is a long, steady, creative life. Meet an artist who works fairly regularly, and you are meeting a fascinating person. Meet an artist who was famous 10 years ago and whose agent or manager or business person has convinced him to pass on everything small so that he can hold out for something big and hence hasn't worked for 5 years. Let me tell you, when you meet them, you know exactly where the exit is. You know what I mean? You are in it for the long haul. Money jobs will come and go to you and to other people. Appreciation of your work will ebb and flow. You will be fired. You will be stolen from. Awards will be given to you and not given to you. And you are allowed exactly 1/2 day to either celebrate or bemoan these things. And then get on with it, just make new art. You yourself can steal, lie, and cheat to get ahead as long as you are a sociopath. If you are not a sociopath, the guilt and the stress will get to you. Oh, and you will be accused of stealing anyway, even when you're not. So just don't steal, and then you get to be outraged with conviction. But honestly, as far as anyone else's success or failures go, truly none of your business. They're going through everything you're going through. They just hide it better. The final one, and the killer, confidence. I have a failure of confidence quite often, and you've heard my resume. I've had it twice during this speech. But I will tell you something that I sometimes tell myself when I am afraid. I am a graduate of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. You wouldn't think just an Associate of Arts degree would give me such a lift. Imagine what your highfalutin degree is going to do for you. Things that I learned at my school I use every day of my creative life. Being in the moment, what does the character want, what does he get? 32 years later, when I was called in to rewrite the entire book for Sister Act in 2.5 months, I knew I could do it. What does the character want? What should she get in? When is her activity? What are the obstacles? Where are they coming from? Where are they going? The show had existed for 6 years and had been performed in Pasadena, Atlanta, London, and Germany, and no one had come along and asked these questions. That's a lot of people stumbling in the dark. Now you all have more than you know. You have what you need. You will be using it for the rest of your life, and you are going to keep learning your whole life. Pretty good career choice on your part, huh? If the word confidence intimidates you, just think of it as passion. We all know you have that. Just be passionate about what you do. The untrained eye will mistake that for confidence every time. So there you are, you roving band of savage artists that make up the class of 2013. Seven bits of something to help you on the road, all 7 filled to brimming with homilies suitable for samplers, and I encourage you all to take up needlepoint. I hope I've done my part in making your day as memorable and as wisdom-packed as humanly possible. And I do have to tell you, my own graduation turned out to be something pretty splendid. When the ceremony was over, I looked back and my father had tears in his eyes. My father is not an emotional man, and to say that he was against me working in the arts would be in line with saying the Titanic ran into some trouble. And boy, that Mr. Hitler sure had his moods. And I asked my dad why he was crying, and he said, "Because you're doing it." And in that moment, I realized I was doing it forever for the rest of my days. Now my father brags to his friends, "Look at Doug, he did it all on his own, no help from me." My dad checks playbill.com every morning and emails me, "Why didn't you get that?" So to the parents out there, supportive, eventually supportive, or otherwise, thank you. You evidently did something quite traumatic to these children that they have to express it in their art and need mass love for it. So thank you even for that. The other wonderful thing that happened at graduation, my graduation, was there was a teacher who was particularly tough on me. Never had a smile or a kind word. And as I walked by him, he burst into a huge smile, the first time I'd ever seen from him, and he hugged me. Then he shouted, "Who is greater than Doug Beane?" I looked at him, wondering if perhaps aliens had inhabited his body. And I was so thrown. I was so used to being in teacher mode. I just said, is there anything else you want me to do? Do you have any notes? And he shouted, "You have what you need, just go." And so I went. 6 months later, after auditioning, 2 graduates and I didn't have jobs, so I wrote a play and we produced it ourselves. I discovered that I loved writing and rehearsing more than performing and have been doing it merrily ever since. You have what you need, just go. Okay, maybe that teacher was just happy to get rid of me. An option. Or maybe that's what today is about. You have what you need. The teacher, the parents have done that. Now just go. Astound us, astonish us. We've made a mess of it. Fix it. Show us the truth that we're afraid of. Remind us all that we're human. Show us that compassion and empathy are human, and they are inevitable. Show up prepared. Know your history. Know every rule before you break it. Remember to breathe. Now, mess with our heads. Please, they could use a good messing. Every form of art as we know it has just been stalling till now, waiting for you. McFadden and Whitehead are reaching across Broad Street and all time, telling you, ain't no stopping you now, you're on the move. Ain't no stopping you now, you've got the groove. Be brilliant, be brave, be sassy at the train station, be loud, be passionate, be kind. Yes, these are my real teeth. You have what you need, just go.